Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Virtual Assistance and Resources from OSHA's On-Site Consultation Program and then Ohio EPA's Office of Compliance Assistance and Pollution Prevention. My name is Alexis Andrews with the Division of Environmental and Financial Assistance here at Ohio EPA, and I will be moderating this morning's presentation. Today's presenters are Jessica Kasseris from Ohio EPA and Keith Bullock from BWC's OSHA On-Site Consultation Program. Before I pass this morning's presentation off to our wonderful presenters, we wanted to get a better idea of who all is attending today's session. So that brings us to our first poll question. So, what industry best describes you? Are you from the consulting industry, government? Are you a business owner? Are you in the environmental health and safety field or other? So please just select one that best describes you. We'll give folks a second here to answer that question. Perfect. Well, it looks like a good chunk of the people we have here today are from the government, and then the rest of you are mostly from the environmental health and safety field. Perfect. Well, we have one more poll question before we get started, and we would just like to know if you have ever contacted OCAP or OSHA On-Site Consultation Program for assistance. So if you could just select one, either OCAP, OSHA On-Site Consultation Program, both or neither, just so we have an idea of who's actually reached out to us before for our services. And if it's neither, that's fine. We want to put this presentation on so we can tell you about all the great things that both of our programs do so we can do a better job of helping you guys out. Awesome. So it looks like some of you have contacted OCAP, some of you have contacted OSHA, and some of you have contacted both, but the majority of you have never contacted either. So hopefully that changes after today. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our first presenter, Jessica Kasseris, who is an environmental specialist here at Ohio EPA in the Office of Compliance Assistance and Pollution Prevention.
Hello and good morning, everyone. I hope that you're all taking care of yourselves physically and mentally this morning. Today, I will be talking to you all about Ohio EPA's free and confidential environmental services for small businesses and resources to help you achieve compliance, reduce waste, and save money. As an overview, I'll be talking about our small business assistance, our Ohio Materials Marketplace, our recognition program, and throughout the whole presentation, I'll have contacts available. So I work in Ohio EPA's Office of Compliance Assistance and Pollution Prevention. We will refer to that as OCAP throughout this presentation. That's what we call ourselves, and it's less of a mouthful to say. OCAP works with small businesses to help them understand and address their environmental compliance responsibilities. We work with businesses of all sizes to identify ways that they can reduce their waste and emissions, often saving money. Sometimes they may not realize by doing something a specific way, they may in fact be exempt from the regulations, and it may be lessen the burden on them. I'm located in Columbus, Ohio, but we do have staff in each of our 5 districts and serve all of Ohio. So our office works to ensure that businesses understand and properly address environmental responsibilities. We understand that environmental regulations can be complex and broad. So we want to help businesses understand what they can do. Our 5 regulatory divisions each cover specific areas. So for example, if you are putting in a public drinking water well, you may need to put in an application with our Division of Drinking and Groundwaters. However, if you're building a home, an individual home, you may need a permit with our Division of Surface Water for your stormwater concerns. However, if you have something like an auto body shop, you may need to control your air emissions from the paint that you spray, your waste, such as your used oil or other hazardous waste, or if you're doing some power washing, you may have some stormwater concerns. So given the scope of our laws, we know that we regulate a lot of small business activities, and our job is to make sure that that's less confusing and that you get your clear answers in a way that's easy for you to understand. So what can OCAP do for you? Our office works to make this a little easier and less complicated. We work to provide that technical assistance so that small businesses understand how to stay in compliance and that they understand all the various forms that they need to figure out. While we are working to limit our physical contact, we are still here to help, whether that is by phone, email, or virtually. The information that you give us, you may be wondering if you work at Ohio EPA, how is this confidential? OCAP is we are in strict confidence, and our emails and phone calls are not subject to public record. So we work to help you complete and submit permit applications and report, and also help you develop and maintain on-site records. So as I mentioned, that we do not actively share information with about our customers to enforcement staff, and that many businesses contact us for the very first time. We are that first stop, and we cannot share that information with the regulatory side of Ohio EPA. So if you feel apprehensive about that, know that this information is secure, and the only reason there's a little asterisk over there is that unless that information reveals a clear and immediate threat to the environment, health, safety, or welfare of the public. So you may be apprehensive about an inspection. So some key things to keep in mind is who visited. As I mentioned, we have different divisions that each have their own specific area of expertise. So you may be inspected by several different divisions, each looking at their own area of expertise. So something to keep in mind so that we can better assist you is who visited it. Was it someone in our Division of Surface Water, Hazardous Waste, Air Pollution Control? And why did they show up? Was this a part of a complaint investigation? This is one of the most common reasons for an inspection. Perhaps a neighbor or even one of your own workers may call Ohio EPA if they're concerned about something. Additionally, an inspection just may be a part of their annual or biannual initiatives. And did they cite you with a notice of violation? If they did, that's something that you can definitely come to Ohio EPA to help you figure out how do you address those concerns? How do you resolve this notice of violation? It's not something to worry about. It's something that we can help you through. So our primary goals are to make that access to information quick and easy. We want to be that one-stop shop for information, whether it's hazardous waste, air pollution control, or surface water. OCAP is here to help you figure that out. We provide information that's helpful and specific to our customers' needs and concerns, and we want to make it easier for you to understand how to do business with Ohio EPA and be successful. So we are the folks who will help complete your applications, ensure your compliance, identify some cost-saving methods, and also recognize your efforts. We have 5 separate districts and 1 or 2 folks located in each of those. I serve the 10 counties in Central Ohio, but we also have counterparts in all of Ohio. Additionally, we have a toll-free hotline. If you have a simple question, or maybe you are a new business seeking information about environmental regulations, you can give this a call, and one of the folks in these 5 districts will help you figure it out. We also have a voicemail box in Spanish. So if you have questions, and maybe environmental regulations are already complex enough, but maybe you don't understand exactly what they're saying to you or when they visited, you can feel free to call this voicemail box and we will get back to you. So now I'm going to talk to you about our Ohio Materials Marketplace. I'm going to give you a little analogy to help you understand what we're talking about. So to begin, you can try to imagine a forest and think of these beautiful autumn leaves right now are falling and how they provide nutrients to the soil and other organisms, and this cycle repeats. So in the forest, this ecosystem self-sustains itself, and waste is actually a resource. We aim to do that and join this circular cycle through our circular economy by having a small part in our Ohio Materials Marketplace. This is an online platform that allows businesses to exchange their byproducts and waste so that these items are utilized. Instead of this take, make, and dispose model, we hope to encourage the reusing, remanufacturing, recycling, and maintenance in this circular cycle. Our Ohio Material Marketplace has over 1,000 organizations participating, 3.7 million pounds that have been exchanged and diverted from the landfill, and $222,000 saved. This platform is run by our sustainability unit. So you might be wondering what is on this marketplace. There are a wide variety of things from scrap cardboard, pallet racking, polystyrene foam, and even at one point in time, you see those large warehouse shelves. There were about 500 of them in Cincinnati available. Frank Bastings and Bill Narowski are the two contacts that you can reach out to find more information about this Ohio Materials Marketplace. Do you want recognition for going above and beyond? Ohio EPA offers two different recognition programs, our Encouraging Environmental Excellence, which we will call E3, and our Encouraging Environmental Excellence in Education, which is a program for kindergarten through 12th. The Encouraging Environmental Excellence program recognizes businesses, organizations, community, and larger schools such as universities. It recognizes them for their achievement in environmental stewardship, and there are 4 different tiers of recognition. Achievement is the lowest, all the way to platinum. If you do reach that point of platinum, we offer a flag that you can proudly represent at your company's site. Different platinum recipients have included the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, Ford, and Sterling Ultra Cold. This is the highest level of E3 recognition, and it really showcases not only their organizational commitment to environmental stewardship, but their community and regional environmental impact. Other recipients have included the Columbus Zoo and Ohio University. These organizations really go above and beyond, not only in their own business practices, but they impact their community and regional environment. So our Encouraging Environmental Excellence in Education, as we call E4, is a new program that helps recognize K-12 public or private schools. This program is aimed to recognize them for their achievements in environmental stewardship, their efforts to educate students on environmental topics, and it also includes 3 different tiers: the leaf, branch, and root. The tiers depend on how robust of a curriculum and program they have and how much they involve the students in that process. This is set up similar to our E3 program, where an administrator or someone from the school will nominate and submit this application. Here we have Governor DeWine and our Director Stevenson. I believe the 2 photos showed Graham and Newark schools, who were recognized before the pandemic for their environmental efforts. So you might be, I've talked to you about our recognition program, but now you're wondering, how can I save some money? So you can save money by applying for one of our grants in our recycling program. These can help you purchase equipment such as one of these balers showed, or even recycle bins. The cycle for this grant program runs November through early February. So this is now open, and the applications are due in February. You can apply online through Ohio EPA's Customer Support Center, and the application is competitive. Previously funded projects include education and outreach materials, recycle bins, tire amnesty events, different recycling equipment such as a composter or recycling bins, paving projects, and curbside recycling. The grant is available in 3 separate categories of community and litter, market development, and scrap tire. The terms are listed as shown, and they do have an applicant match. Here you can see the amount available, which is the maximum amount you can apply for in each category. As I mentioned, the applications are now available. We do have an information webinar at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and the deadline is in February. They are due at 3 p.m. To ensure that everything goes smoothly through the system, and our staff is available to help you through that. The funding is not awarded until July 2021. The contacts for this program are April Stevensons, Marie Barnett, Dave Folks, and Kelsey Hyatt. Please feel free to reach out to any of them for any additional questions that you may have, or attend our webinar tomorrow. So I hope that you've learned a little bit about our Office of Compliance Assistance and Pollution Prevention, so that you know how to reach out to your district OCAPR, so that you can apply for a grant and save some money. You can utilize our materials marketplace and get recognized for your environmental stewardship. I'm Jessica Caceres. If you have any questions, we will be asking those at the end.
Thank you so much, Jessica. So now we will pass the presentation over to Keith from BWC's OSHA On-Site Consultation Program.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And first, I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much to OCAP and the Ohio EPA for agreeing to do this outreach with us, and talk a little bit about not only our services, but how we're going to reach out during this time of COVID. And what I want to focus on right now is what we're offering, something a little new. It's something called a virtual safety consultation. We'll talk a little bit about OSHA On-Site as well, and we'll talk about BWC. But I want to just kind of focus on the virtual safety consultation since we're in this middle of this pandemic. It's new. It fills the void of the safety services that that maybe you've relied on in the past. Such as keeping, I want to make sure that everybody keeps, social distancing protocols as required by the governor. Keep those in mind. It doesn't mean our services aren't available to you. It means that they're just going to be provided a little bit differently. For now and even into the future, COVID virtual consultations will play an important role in helping your business comply with safety and health requirements. We're going to be there for you virtually, reviewing, assessing, maybe just talking about the issues or questions that you have, keeping your business operations running smoothly and safely. This is an effort that we want to do together with you. So the objective, hey, we want to team up with you. We want to make sure that we're addressing the things that you want. We want a common sense, cost-effective, proven approach to help you confront your safety and health issues. Your priorities become ours, and we help you determine how best to protect your employees. Is this a difficult process? Not really. It's pretty straightforward. It's streamlined to provide you answers in a format that's both educational and understandable. We'll review hazards in all sorts of industries. We're focused on small business, but we're here for you if you have anything at all. We want you to understand what the OSHA On-Site Consultation Program is about. Just like OCAP, We at OSHA Onsite Consultation are basically a state-run program, in a sense, a federal program run on a state level. But at the same time, we are also funded in multiple ways through the state government as well. So it's kind of a mixture. Our goal, though, ultimately, is to provide you with help. And so, in the time of COVID, since the medical community uses this technology to, provide checkups, and we want to use the same technology to provide compliance assistance. We want to help you in any way we can. And I'll tell you what, we won't even charge you a copay. How's that? So we'll give you some examples of what we're doing in various industries, and we'll also have a little bit of information regarding what compliance assistance activities are going on through both federal OSHA and the Ohio BWC. So let's talk about your needs. What brings you here today? What brought you to this webinar? Our door is always open. So really, this is an opportunity for you to bring your questions. I noticed that in the sign up for this webinar, there was a lot of government people that are taking advantage of this program, and that's great. Those at the EPA that are listening, let us know. Let your people know that we have at BWC, we have people that are available for small business, for safety and health issues. Those that are from the BWC, let small employers, let your employers know that the Ohio EPA has a great program. We need to work together to cross-reference and to cross-promote our activities so that so that small business knows that we're out there from all kinds of sources. So what are your needs? Have you, at your workplace, have you seen an activity that bothered you? Or has someone asked you a safety question you didn't feel the answer you gave was as complete as you would have liked? Maybe you're in a new role with added responsibilities that fall just outside your comfort zone. Or maybe someone has been injured and you're digging out from the avalanche of issues that now confront you. If you've answered yes to any of these questions, then we can help you, whatever the reason. We'll make some slow and steady progress, make a path, and we will end when you want to address the issues that you need to address. And that's kind of what we do. Virtual visit is quite simple. It is an agreement to meet together. It is an agreement to address a serious hazard and to correct it. I mean, the reason why you're reaching out is to fix hazards that are in your workplace, and so we want to help you with that, and we want to do it in a way that's sensitive to your needs and complete from a standpoint of making sure that your employees are protected. So it's a group effort. And it's not an enforcement action. We're with consultation. I'll explain to you briefly what that is about. We're not, while we share a name, OSHA. We are not the enforcement portion of OSHA. We are a consultation activity that is used as a opportunity to educate and get better and to learn and to run through your facility and help you modify work practices, identify hazards, and help you understand to the degree that you need to things that you can get better at. I mean, don't we all need that? First thing that we do is agree to correct a hazard. If something's wrong, you're missing a guard, if there's an issue, you agree to fix it. Moving on from there, accept an invitation from us. We'll invite you to a virtual meeting. Just with one click, we can be connected. We can discuss your priorities, and we could do that before or after the virtual activity. The tablet, as long as you have a phone or a tablet that has a video sharing capability, we're good to go. We can focus in on whatever you need. And then we can, at the conclusion, talk about what we've seen and address some of those issues. Here's what a invitation will kind of look like. very similar to the one you got to attend this webinar. Basically, we're clicking and we're perhaps downloading a little small patch of software, depending upon what you've done in the past, depending upon your web browser. It's a pretty seamless effort, just following the screen. So now we move to that point now in the consultation, and we have people that are in the consultation. Let's look at the screen for a second. You'll notice on one side there's the consultant, and then on the other side there's a split screen with two people. Why are there two people here? Well, who are these? The employer might be made up of somebody who is actually on site, and there may be somebody either down the hall or maybe in another state. This is not uncommon for these virtual activities to include other people in other locations. And who, in this time of COVID, who doesn't, travel, if traveling is not necessary, how awesome is it to have a virtual capability here? So I had one recently with a gentleman from Minnesota who joined us virtually. And you can do this on audio and or video or both. You could do it either way. So, you don't even have to, if you want to listen in, you can do that too. The most important thing, though, is that when we are establishing a connection, a virtual connection between the site and the consultant, we want to make sure that we have a good visual. We want to make sure we have a good feed. There are going to be issues with that feed. Bandwidth is going to be an issue, but these are things that we can tackle together. This shouldn't be an impediment to getting together. We want to be able to work through the problems. And one of the things that we can do is, we can actually get together before the scheduled meeting. What does that mean? Well, that means like, hey, Keith, we've got a meeting coming up in 2 weeks. I'm not sure about this technology. Can we meet real quick and just see if we can establish a connection? Absolutely. Why not? Let's do a dry run, right? So, and that's just a wonderful way of taking the stress out of it. And that's because we want to be effective. We want to cover the things that you want to cover, and we want to be effective during that activity. Okay. So, what kind of activities will we do? Well, we're going to do whatever you want, right? Because we're listening to what your needs are. We're not on any kind of fishing expedition. We would like to know what is driving your request to meet with us. How can we help you? Was there an accident? Are we investigating an accident? Are we doing some kind of an activity for a certain work process? And we'll talk more about some of those things in a second. But we do full service visits, which we obviously full service the whole shebang, as it were. Or we do limited services where we'll focus on a specific operation, or whatever works, whatever you want to do. Remember, the limited activities work best. So in this particular case, as I fly through the screen, here in this particular screen, now you'll notice now we've moved from 3 video feeds to 4. Okay, and we've lost one of the gentlemen that were in the upper corner. And where'd that guy go? Well, that person actually now is taken established a feed on a video camera, in this particular case, a cell phone. And we are walking through the facility now. And we are looking for hazards. We are looking to perhaps talk to people, interview people, whatever it is. The goal is in order to establish, a compliance-driven item that you want to get taken care of. So we still have our contact from out of state on this listening, paying attention to what's going on the screen. And in this particular case, we have walked over to an outside dock area or maybe just a platform area, okay? And we have we noticed that the railing looks a little flimsy, so the employee that's on site is I asked them to kind of, hey, move that railing, and how does that feel? Does that offer you some resistance? And he said, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And all of a sudden he said, oh, it just dislodged. And we looked carefully down at where it was into the base of the platform, we see that there's a piece of a wood screw that maybe is about 1/4 inch long. And we can see that that wood screw has failed because it hasn't created the attachment that's required in order to sustain a certain level of lateral force, 200 pounds of lateral force, which would be the requirement. You know, do you need to know that? Well, we can help you understand what that means. And then we could look at that and we could say, hey, is there a way we could have done that better? What could we have done so that, you know, the walkthrough didn't reveal that we have that hazard? And the answer would be, hey, maybe we could have bolted that instead of a wood screw. Maybe we could have done that a little bit better. So maybe we talk a little bit about you know, the activity. Who actually did this activity, and why did they think this was going to be acceptable? And when the activity was asked to be performed, when they built the platform, you know, what direction was given? And you know, a lot of times when you give direction as it relates to fixing hazards, correcting hazards, how you delegate that responsibility is pretty important, because if we assume that a maintenance person or whomever was going to build this railing understands the concept, then we may have, in this particular case, assumed incorrectly. You know, we get down to that situation: is safety common sense? And the answer is, it's not. Safety is not common sense, because common sense is not common knowledge. And we are all different, and we all have different backgrounds, and we all have different capabilities, and we learn through life different things. What we want to do in consultation is we want to address things like this, and we want to educate, and we want to provide assistance in any way that we can, so that people understand how to best address correcting a hazard. This is just an example. You know, it's one of those things where a rising tide will lift all ships. And that's kind of how we look at it from a safety standpoint. If we can educate people to be a little bit more aware of what the hazards are, and then we can talk a little bit about a better corrective action, we can make the workplace free from recognized hazards. And that is our goal. That is our goal. So as we move through, what if we do something repetitively throughout the day? We take garbage out, for example, and somebody gets injured taking some garbage out because of a process. You know, we can help you evaluate the process. We can help you understand why somebody got hurt. We can do some accident investigations for you. We can watch, we can observe, we can take some notes. We'll grab some employees for some, you know, for some participation in the process, because that's critical. You can have the best management commitment, but if you don't have employee participation in the process, then maybe what we're doing is missing something. So we want to make sure that we include them, and it's required that we do, especially if they're union shops, part of our rules. You know, at the BWC, we have amazing people. I have to say, industrial hygienists, you know, they're going to quantify noise and air issues. They're going to quantify, you know, what is our exposure levels. They're going to do monitoring now. Some of that stuff's on hold during this COVID process until we can get back into the actual monitoring of workplaces, which we're not there yet. But there are other things that we can do. So if you have any questions on any of the services that we provide, reach out to me, and I'll make sure that I'm connecting you to the right person. So tremendous amount of industrial hygiene services that are available to you. Also, one of the, I don't know, it's not a secret, but sometimes I feel it is, because it's not known well enough. And that we have ergonomists at Ohio BWC that are just amazing. And these are people that are going to, you know, help you address a lot of the hazards that kind of are just under the radar a little bit, and that may not be obvious to you, but ultimately will show up on your injury reports or your workers' comp forms and so forth. Why? Because, you know, our workforce is getting older, and so are our bodies, and we are trying to continue to do the things that we've always done, and we may be susceptible to some issues. And what we can do with an ergonomist, what you can do with one of our ergonomists, is review your workplace and have them assess an issue or a location or a job scope that has potential problems, or maybe have you notice some injuries in a certain job description or task, and then maybe have them kind of look at it and assess it. And this is something that can be done virtually. Okay, so this is a wonderful opportunity. Again, reach out to us. These are all these services that we're talking to you about are free. They're also confidential. I want to make sure that everybody understands that the things that OSHA Onsite does is confidential. Just like OCAP, we have built-in firewalls so that, you know, federal OSHA enforcement doesn't know where in there working with you unless you want them to. And who knows, maybe there's a reason that you do. You know, there's this thing called good faith. If you're ever in a situation where, you know, God forbid, you're in an enforcement situation and you've used us in the past, you know, does that show that that you've tried to be proactive? Does that show good faith? I don't know. It could, depending upon, you know, what the facility looks like at the time of the enforcement action. But we'll also help you if you're in different industries. Construction, for example, we have some amazing, talented, veteran construction people that will go into, know the trades, know the lingo, speak the language, and can help you understand areas that are ripe for improvement. And that's what we want to do here with construction companies. Again, contact us, it's free. So we'll do a quick opening conference. We'll talk about the rights and obligations that you have. We'll make sure that you remember that you invited us in for free, that we're confidential, and that you're going to correct the hazard if it's serious, and we both don't want someone to get hurt, right? So you're going to agree to correct that hazard and maybe provide us with some documentation for that correction. Make sure that it you know, addresses the issue at hand. Oh, and here's another thought. You know, while we are, you know, looking for a corrective action, let's pretend it's a guard that's missing on a machine, and it just, you can't find it. I was at a facility the other day, and there was a guard missing from a hydraulic press. And bottom line was, it was removed back. There's all kinds of reasons why that happens. None of them are really good reasons. But what we can do with those reasons is we can kind of unpack that to find out what can we do to prevent the removal of guards, or perhaps to confirm that if the guard was removed for whatever reason, that it's put back before operation. So this is the kind of stuff that we want to talk about during an on-site consultation. And while the corrective action is being taken care of, while the corrective action is being completed by you, we want to establish something called interim protection. What does that mean? Well, that means that while you're correcting the hazard, we don't leave a machine that's unguarded open for someone to use. Does that make sense? It's like seeing a hole in the floor and just saying, hey, remind that guy not to step into that hole. No. What we're going to do is we're going to ask you to you know, cover, to augment the workplace so that people aren't in that area. Whatever it is, we're going to ask you to provide interim protection. Very important concept in making sure people stay safe. So when we're going to identify some hazards, here's basically how we identify hazards. We're going to look for the imminent danger situation. We're going to look for the serious or other than serious finding. We're going to look for regulatory and other findings and recommendations and give you whatever you need to make your workplace safer. We're going to use resources that we have internally. We're going to use resources that we have from different web sources like OSHA, Department of Health, Ohio Department of Health, the CDC, whatever is required to help you. A lot of the greatest benefits we provide employers are in our findings and recommendations, because there are a lot of people here at Ohio BWC that are in safety people for a long time, and they have great concepts that they've learned in other locations that might be a perfect fit for your issue, might be a perfect solution to whatever issue that confronts you. So this is great stuff. Another thought too is, What if we see something that requires some training, things of that nature? But we have webinars that we have deployed recently for COVID that are becoming more and more available. They are covering more topics. We're moving aggressively in providing that resource. We have also reopened our video library. And if you haven't already taken advantage of free safety videos, my God, BWC Library is an amazing resource. Whatever questions that you have after this, I know I'm talking real fast, but I only have a short window and I want to get all this stuff out. But whatever questions that you have regarding anything, if you see my email address, you send me a line and I'll make sure that we connect you with the right person and you get what it is you're looking for and need. So basically, we're going through this virtual walkthrough, and then we're going to close at some point. We're going to say, okay, let's review what we saw. We took a little limited look at what we saw. We're going to verify, hey, here's some corrective actions that we're going to need from you. Can you do this within this certain amount of time? And you'll say, I think I can. I said, okay, well, that's great. Then let's lock in on this date. And then if you need more time, maybe we can negotiate something like that. As long as the hazard that you are addressing is not going to be exposed that somebody could be hurt on. All right. We want that interim protection while you're addressing that hazard. Well, we can talk about how we can abate the hazard as long as you'd like. But that interim protection is really, really critical. You're going to get a report from us after the visit. We're going to explain the findings, and we're going to address those corrective actions and so forth and so on. We're going to follow up with you. Hey, what if there's something that we missed? What if there's another activity that we want to address? Well, we can do that too. Not everything has to get done during one sitting. Thanksgiving's coming up, right? You may want to sample the entire table, but sometimes you got to take a break between things to digest, to chew. And that's kind of what we talk about when we do follow-up visits. We give you time to digest, and then we can kind of move forward. This is a process. This is not this is just an opportunity for improvement. So you have to think of it that way. We've helped a boatload of companies in all kinds of ways, and especially during this virtual time. The name of our program is OSHA On-Site Consultation, right? On-site consultation. Governor said, hey, time out on the on-site. If you want to help people, which is we want you to help people, we're going to do that virtually. That's what we've been focused on. And it's going to be here even after COVID. We'll probably continue to do the on-site at some point in the future. We're not quite there yet. So while we are in this interim, let's meet virtually. Let's see what we can do to help you get better. If you are interested, just like OCAP, just like the EPA, we've got we have recognition programs. We have OSHA VTP, Voluntary Protection Program, and we have the OSHA SHARP program, which is Safety Health Achievement Recognition Program. And let me read you something real quick from a study that was done by the BWC that analyzed 16 SHARP company workers' comp policies. And here was the takeaway from OSHA as it relates to the cost savings from becoming a part of one of these recognized programs. Again, these are completely voluntary, but listen to this. Workers' comp analyzed the policy of 16 SHARP employers over a 12-year period. The study compared the employer's experience prior to and after achieving entry into the SHARP program. Here's what the results showed. 52% reduction in the number of claims. The average claims cost decreased by 80%. The average time per claim decreased by 87%. And the claim per $1 million of payroll decreased by 88%. If you struggle with saving money, this might be a wonderful opportunity to address that. Again, voluntary program has tremendous upside. It's just a commitment that you'll have to think about taking on. Federal OSHA, just like our OCAP brothers and sisters, their enforcement, Ohio EPA, there's a firewall there. They don't know that the OCAP is working with that company, there is a sense of confidentiality. The same thing holds true for us. The same thing. Whatever we discuss with you is between us. All right. The only thing that you want to do is make sure that we don't let corrective action due dates exceed the agreed upon time frame, because that would be like the Ohio EPA seeing something that would, the OCAP group seeing something that would be harming the environment. They'd have to tell Ohio EPA. In our situation, if we see an employer harming an employee and they're not being sensitive to the agreed upon issues and the corrective actions, then we're obligated to give a heads up. But does that happen? The odds of that happening are kind of like the odds of getting struck by lightning, to be honest with you. I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I can count maybe on one finger in 20 years how long I've seen it. So can you remain under the radar? Does that concept even exist? You can work with our program, maintain confidentiality, but I'll tell you what, I don't think anybody can remain under the radar, especially if you're hurt, especially if one of your employees is hospitalized. The reporting mechanisms that are involved now, not to mention the fact that if there's a complaint alleged, can you really be under the radar? Or is it better to understand the rules that apply to your business and to be on top of them and look for vulnerabilities so that you can tweak, so that you're not playing defense? Right. So anyway, these are just some of the thoughts. And again, the virtual consultation, the walkthrough, the opening conference. We're gonna look at issues, and we're gonna follow the same kind of system that OSHA enforcement followed. No cost, completely confident. We have websites, presence both on OSHA.gov here. We have a website presence on the Ohio BWC. This is the OSHA on-site consultation portion of the OSHA.gov website. If you go to Ohio BWC, just go to the search engine and type OSHA, and you'll find our program, and you can kind of look and see there. You can also take a understanding that our program is funded both federally and state level. And this is approximate numbers. They're slightly modified from year to year. Compliance assistance, I referenced that in the earlier slide. I said, hey, we've got compliance assistance specialists that can help you, and they're amazing people too. And they're federal people, but we love them just as much. And what they can do is amazing. I mean, I worked with our local contact here in the Columbus office, Melissa Linton, and together we created an alliance with the Ohio Craft Brewers Association. We've just kind of kicked off our second set of 2 years. We're going to be doing that shortly. But the bottom line is, these compliance assessment specialists are wonderful. They can provide you with VPP information, voluntary protection program. They run campaigns regarding different safety initiatives, and they're just a clearinghouse of wonderful information and a great resource. I kind of ran through this quick because I know I had an eyeball on the time, and I don't want to keep anybody past the hour, and I want to maybe save a few minutes for questions and so forth, and to sum up right now and say this. What's a good idea? Having two state agencies with interrelated legislative mandates share a single unifying message. Compliance assistance is here, it's free, and it's virtual. And all we need from you is to say, I'd like to take advantage of it. So that's really where we're at. And here's some contact information. Feel free to, give us a buzz, give us a call. Why don't you email us? Send me an email, say hi. I like it when people say hi. You can include any questions or issues, and I'll hook you up with the right people or the right answers, and we'll let that start right after this. So, and that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Jessica and Keith, we do have one more poll question that we're going to launch right now. It's just to get an idea of, if you guys heard some things that you think you can take advantage of today. So after this morning's presentation, do you think you'll contact either our OCAP team, Keith's team over at OSHA, on-site consultation program, both or neither? So we'll give people a couple seconds here to answer that question for us, and then we'll do some Q&A. And just a reminder, after you guys answer the poll question, you can still submit questions for our presenters. We'll do our best to answer as many as possible, but if we do not get a chance to answer it during our Q&A session, as we're getting close to 11 o'clock, we will reach out to you via email. But like Keith said, you guys have our contact information, so please feel free to reach out to us. These two individuals, from my experience, are just as approachable virtually as they are both in person, although we can't do in person right now. And, you know, if you reach out via email, phone, whatever, they are definitely there to help you. So we'll give people just a moment longer to respond. Looks like we're slowing down. All right, I'm going to close the polls now, so get your vote in. Awesome. Well, great. It looks like the majority of you said you'll contact both, so you'll keep us busy. It's been great. We really haven't slowed down since March when we got sent home, but we are definitely excited to help you guys. So with that, we did have quite a few questions come in. So let's start with this one. This one came in when you were presenting, Jessica. It said, you referred to small business several times. Is there a business size limit with regards to sales, number of total employees in a company, or plant size?
So traditionally, our program was founded and there was a 100-person limit for that business size, but that has since been changed. So we do help businesses of all sizes, but we have certain limitations. For example, if you need something that requires a PE stamp, with Division of Service or whatever requires a PE stamp, we can't do that. And if you're a Title V air facility, we can also not help you with that. But of any size with any other needs, we can assist you.
Perfect. How about for you, Keith? Do you guys have a limitation on business size?
Almost exactly like Jessica. There are, you know, we'll help anybody that needs help. There may be some activities that might be slightly limited in scope that we can that we'll do for much larger companies. The whole focus for the origin of our program was for small high hazard industry. But you know, as a BWC person and the resources that they have, they're going to be looking to help anybody that needs help, and so are we. So just ask the question, and we'll figure out something to help you. Thank you.
Thank you. This one's kind of for both of you too. Are there any costs associated to either OCAP consultation or OSHA virtual consultation?
I believe both of our programs are completely free, and free and confidential. So you don't have to worry about any costs associated with that.
Exactly right. I echo those words, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about this one? I think came in for Keith. Can I request a second visit if we haven't addressed something I forgot to cover?
Very, very common to do that, because what happens is, you know, we'll focus on something and then the employer will be like, oh my God, this is great. This is great. Then they'll go away and then they'll be like, oh, wait a second. What about X, Y, or Z? So yes, the answer is absolutely yes. Matter of fact, in a lot of ways, it's preferred to kind of break things up a little bit, because that way you can kind of chew on what the issue, chew and then swallow, you know, that kind of thing. So yes, answer is as much as you need, we're here for you.
Yeah, and I would echo that for our program. I work in the same group as Jessica, and I think we've used the analogy of like a Lay's potato chip. Like once you get, you know, a taste of our services, you can't just contact us one time, and that's perfectly fine. I have a lot of people that contact me repeatedly, and I love that. I love the relationships that I've been able to develop over the years, just because we've broken down that barrier of knowing that they don't have to be afraid to ask a question. You can ask a question. I always get emails that say, this is a stupid question. There aren't stupid questions. This stuff is hard to understand, and we are both excited to allow a resource for you guys, or provide a resource for you guys to ask these questions in a way that you feel comfortable and you know that you can get a response from a real person, which is really nice. I don't know, Jessica, if you have anything to add there.
I think you said it well.
Always, we love our repeat customers. Sometimes they'll disappear for a bit, but it's good the ketchup. Someone just chatted in Pringles. That made me smile. Yes, Pringles too, like the Lay's potato chip. How about this one? What types of hazards do you typically see during a consultation or virtual consultation? I think that one came in during your portion, Keith.
Well, I mean, this is going to be a lot of times both industry specific and a lot of times, generic for the workplace. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of both. And so the hazards that we'll see will be the activities that are going to be showing your employees having some exposure to some serious hazard that either it's not being addressed appropriately or could be addressed better. And this is where we kind of say, hey, I see that they're doing this. What if you decided maybe to augment this work practice to include X, Y, or Z? And then the employer could say, oh, yeah, that would be an idea. That would be something to improve. What we like to do is we like to review what's happened in the workplace in the past, in your work, in whatever workplace it is, and see what has happened in the past. Maybe take a look at the industry itself and see what's historically been hazardous in that work industry. Maybe even look at it by industrial code classification, and then kind of see what's happened there. And then we can kind of say, hey, how are you addressing this particular issue that's common for this industry? So, safety consultants, I'm sure, just like environmental consultants, they're like mechanics and doctors. Some of them are going to have specialties. Some of them are going to see things that others aren't. That's why it's really good. It's really good to use as many people as you can to get more eyes on your facility, because the more eyes you have, the better information is the more and the better information is going to be provided to you to address those hazards.
I think that's the perfect place to leave our end of our Q&A here. So I just want to thank you both, Keith and Jessica, for an excellent presentation full of lots of information and resources. Thank you, everybody, for attending today's webinar. Once you leave today's webinar, you will receive a survey in a separate window of your current browser that you're using, or you'll receive it in a follow-up email in about a day or so after the webinar. So we greatly value your feedback and would appreciate it if you could let us know how we're doing. We're doing our best to provide information in this virtual environment, and we want to do it in the way that's best for everybody here. A certificate of attendance and a recording of this event will also be included in that email about 24 to 48 hours after the session. Both Ohio EPA and BWC both have many more webinar sessions coming up. We actually have one tomorrow through our Recycling and Litter Prevention Grant webinar, and you'll see a link to that in the chat, as well as our Ohio EPA's Encouraging Environmental Excellence Recognition Program that's on November 12th. And then BWC has a BWC safety webinar. To register for that, just email Keith. And then an OSHA 10-hour for general industry. So with that, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful morning, and feel free to contact us. We love to help. Have a great day.